Hello everyone, it's Leo, and it's time to talk about episode 30 from Healing Good PreCure. This was a very strong build up to the next episode, which is going to be very important for Healing Good, which is going to be episode 31, which is unfortunately not next week. We're going to have a break. There are going to be sports events airing on Japanese television, so we're not going to have Healing Good. But then on the other Sunday, we're going to have episode 31, which is going to be one of the most important episodes so far in this season. But now we're left with episode 30, which was a very good build-up, I think. I think the biggest problem I had with this episode was that this episode basically followed a random character, and I really don't like when PreCure does it. I understand, it's a staple in Japanese animation, especially in shows like PreCure that has like 50 episodes or that run for a year. Sometimes we're gonna follow some episodes or some characters in some episodes that are not really related to the main story or not really related to the girls, which was the case in this one. And it's kind of hard. Like for me, it's hard to relate to those characters. But we had this kid that was helping them go around the zoo, and it was helping them in showing around because he knew everything about that place. So we had the girls going. I think that the main argument of this episode was friendship. And basically, I feel like friendship is a theme. It's a recurring theme in the PreCure franchise. It happens in every single season. In Healing Good, it's no different. And obviously, the theme of this episode is also the theme of the PreCure franchise. Very different people with different backgrounds, different personalities, and different tastes in things. They get bonded together and they can become friends. It doesn't matter. You don't have to be exactly like the other person. You can be friends with someone who's very different than you. I feel like every season, or almost every season, works with this theme and they always explore it somehow. So this was the theme of this episode, and it was a very cute argument. I really like it. I feel like it's one of the strongest points of PreCure, and I love that they did this in this episode. I feel like they didn't really highlight the big differences between Nodokachiyo and Hinata, but for us that have been watching Healing Good since the start, we already know those things. So we already know how they feel and how they act and how different they are from each other. So for us, the viewers, I don't think that that's a big miss. But at the same time, we had some little details, like they all wanted to see different animals. When they ordered food, they all ordered different things. So I think that they were trying to highlight how different they can be from each other. But at the same time, what matters is how you treat each other, how you feel about your friends and caring about your friends and supporting them and, picking them up from the ground when they're down. And this is something that the Healing Good girls do a lot to each other. They help, they're always there for each other. Well, basically it happens in every season. The girls are always there for each other. As time goes by, as their experiences as curers and as people together goes by, they become stronger. Their bonds become stronger and stronger. And this is something I really love about the PreCure franchise. And it was nice that this episode highlighted that. This episode also had a little particularity that I didn't really enjoy, which was the animation. It was really rough. And when I was watching the episode, I noticed that the animals were very beautiful. And I thought, okay, the animation went all to the animals, because when the cures of the girls appeared, oh my god, not good at all. But we'll talk about that later. I'm gonna have to remember talking about that later because we need to. But now, another thing, the villains portion of this episode. So we have King Byogen. King Byogen is shrouded in mystery. We know nothing about him basically, but in this episode he appeared to praise his generals. So he praised Guaido a little bit, but he praised Daruizen a lot. He said Daruizen is doing an exquisite job by creating a Terra Byogen. He's making experiments and he's going forward and everything, and he completely ignored Shindomine. So Shindomine was obviously desperate. She wanted to do something. She wanted to prove that she's good. She wanted to prove that she also has her spot in the generals. So Shindomine was wondering, what can I do to impress King Byogen? Because I'm the one who loves him the most. Blah, blah, blah. This personality, this part of the Shindoine's personality is really boring, and as much as I like her, she's sassy, she can be kind of sassy too, she really faded into the background as time went by because she is this one-trick pony and she doesn't grow from that. That is something that, made me lose interest in her. But in this episode, the one that attacked was actually Daruisen. And when Daruisen attacked, he created an interesting scenario. So, two things we need to consider. The first one is that for the first time, we actually see the people getting desperate over a monster attack in this episode because, we see the little guy running with his friend. We see the other side because we usually see the cures, and now we actually see the people running away and people saying, I'm gonna stay behind to help people, so you go in front, things like that. This is basically, I think, the first time we see that in Healing Good. Other than that, we just see the perspective of the cures themselves. And now, talking about the cures. First nice thing, cure scan. Okay, I always complain about cure scan in Healing Good. I think that cure scan is the worst part of Healing Good. I really hate it. I really hate it. But in this episode, it was really nice. Cure Fontaine using it, she was posing. I loved it so much. It was so amazing. Fontaine girl, you rock. I love you so much. And she didn't use the ice element in this episode. Fontaine girl, you're missing out. And when the fight was starting, one thing that I found a little strange was the fact that Daruisen didn't power up his Mega Byogen. He didn't use a crystal to power the Mega Byogen up, but that wasn't really his intention. He was actually wanting the Byogen to become a little stronger so he could slice some parts of him and save lots of crystals. But the most interesting thing in the fight of this episode was actually to see Daruisen in action. And we could see that Daruisen could really, destroy those girls if he wanted. He just doesn't want to. Fontaine and Sparkle, nothing. And Grace even, she could even hold herself a little better, but not as much. Like, if it wasn't a serious fight, she wouldn't be able to, probably. I think only Earth could do that. But in this episode, in this fight, the girls were the weakest they've ever been, I think, because that monster wasn't even powered up with the crystal. So why couldn't they fight against it? I'm talking about Grace, Fontaine, and Sparkle. They couldn't really do anything. And that was very frustrating to see. Very, very frustrating to see. And it was very interesting. Obviously, the three of them couldn't do anything. Cure Earth, girl, let me handle this. And she went there. She used the sound bottle for the first time, which was nice. She was able to paralyze the monster a little bit using the power of sound. And she kicked it. The girls were able to defeat it with the Healing Oasis. I think it's nice that they're using the Healing Oasis to, change things up. We've been watching the same Healing Hurricane attack from Cure Earth, even though I like the Healing Hurricane attack better. And we're probably not going to see it anymore because next episode we're going to see the power up. But anyway, and then they were able to defeat the Daruisen monster. Daruisen is always teasing the girls. It's interesting because I thought, Shindoine was the sassiest out of all the villains. But girl, you are behind. Daruisen is definitely the sassiest. You can't win against Daruisen in the sassiness department for sure. And so Shindoine, desperate to do something, used the Mega Part in herself and ended up becoming a new version of her own self. A new powered up version of Shindoine. I really like the design of the revamped and powered up Shindoine. She looks really, really beautiful. I love it. And I love those teal colors that they use in her makeup. Oh my god, that was so beautiful. Love it. And she was able to now use the Nono Byogen in a different way. And she ended up infecting the teacher, who's the dad of the little kid that we've been following around. And so that's when the episode ended. And girl, next episode, things are gonna get dramatic. And so before I talk about the next episode, I just want to mention some things that were nice about this episode. We had some great scenes. One of them was when Chiyu saw that big bird and she was like, oh my god, I love it. And the little bird girl, the bird, he was scary, but at the same time, so imponent. I think I would have more or less the same reaction as Chiyu. That bird looked incredible. And Hinata trying to, voice the bird, it was also another amazing scene, and Asumi taking it literally what she was saying. I loved it. And when the girls were eating, also Asumi has a great taste in food, it seems, and girl can eat. I loved that so much, and it was interesting that they were all eating different things. Very, very cute. Now let's talk about the next episode. Episode 31 is going to be a big episode for Healing Good. They're going to get their power up. They're going to fight against a different monster. And I mentioned that in this episode, the animation was very weak. It was very rough. You could really see the difference when you watch the preview for episode 31. In episode 31, it seems that they're pulling all the stops because the episode looks great, at least in the preview, but we can really guess that the fighting scenes are going to be awesome. I feel like the last time we saw this in Healing Good was in episode 19 when Cure Earth joined, and at least my jaw dropped with the beautiful animation of her debut. They always do this when a new Cure is debuting, they always pull the stops, and now with the power up in Healing Good, it seems that they're also going to pull the stops. And it's going to be very, very interesting. I cannot wait. Fortunately, we're going to have to wait for 2 weeks. What can we do? What can we do? Let's be patient. I want to take this little time to thank all of the members of the Magical Cinnamon channel. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, for supporting me, for believing in Magical Cinnamon. And if you've watched everything up until now, thank you so much as well. And until next time, bye-bye.